Hello everyone, it's Liam, the Deaf Doom Metalhead, and today is a CD collection update of the highest regard. So we have some Doom, some Death, some Black Metal, some Funeral Doom for a change, and, you know, they're good old stacks. So we'll crack on. So the first band is a Funeral Doom band. Now, I like my Funeral Doom, and as it's getting darker and colder, that's keeping my kind of mood. I've been into a lot of Black Metal, a lot of slow stuff, and this band is one I wanted for quite a while, so jumped on Bandcamp and picked up the latest from Pantheist. This is Closer to God. This band is a UK band which formed in the year 2000 by Costas, who does the vocals. He's an amazing pianist, he does keys, you know, he's a magician when it comes to anything on the keys, and he's kind of assembled over the years a band that is very much rooted in a very atmospheric, very slow, very grand kind of funeral doom. It's not like a deathy kind of doom where it's just slow, but it's death metal, but really, really slow. This is more epic, grand, very, it takes you on a journey. Like, you close your eyes and you go into these crazy landscapes in your head, especially with the, when you read the lyrics and the songs and how it's, you know, portrayed. The songs really do, they go on a journey. Some of them are 20 minutes long, you know, really, really good. And Funeral Doom for me is, you can either do it where you just use the same riffs, it gets really poor, really repetitive, and, you know, a lot of bands do that. This is more of a creative landscape where it just kind of grows. So if you picture a seed and it turns into a tree, it's kind of that vibe where you watch it in like super speed as the tree grows. You know, it has that kind of vibe to it, the songs and how they just develop. And yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not a fan of the cover, if I'm honest with you. I mean, there's Costas there holding a picture of the album cover. I don't know what the thinking is behind that, but I don't give a shit. It's amazing music, and it is well worth your time. So if you haven't checked this out, this came out last year, and yeah, amazing. But the main one I wanted was this one, which is also a project which features Costas, but a few other musicians. Now, this is the band Towards Atlantis Lights, and the album is called When the Ashes Devoured the Sun. Now, this project is Funeral Doom again, but it has a different kind of vibe to the previous one. So this has also got Costas with keys, but it also features Ivan Zara from Void of Silence, which I believe is an Italian band, and I think Ivan is the main founder of this band. It was an international project after. It was kind of formed by him in 2017, and it's got all these really cool members in it. But it also features Ricardo from Aphonic Threnody, if you know that band. They're local to me, another Funeral Doom band here in the UK. And on drums a guy called Ivano. Now, this is their second full length from 2021. I'm using notes if you keep wondering why I'm looking over there, because there's a lot of information to take in, you know, you got to get it right. And this is amazing. Like, this is fucking, it's really heavy, really eerie Funeral Doom, and it's got, I don't know what it is about this album that I streamed it ages ago when it came out, and I put it on my want list straight away because it's got this weird guitar tone, and it sounds a bit wankery, but for me it just clicked straight away, and it built all these like weird, horrible atmospheres and the solos and stuff like that. It's a really strong album. Again, solid Funeral Doom, because it's done by people that get the genre. You know, they're not just slapping a load of riffs on you, hoping for the best. You know, it's well crafted, well put together. All the songs flow really nicely. There's a picture of the lads there. And it's just a solid band, really, really good. I can't recommend this one enough. I've listened to this a lot, especially when it's cold and horrible outside. Judging by the album with all the fire on it, doesn't really give that vibe to me. It's just a really good, miserable album. So yeah, Towards Atlantis Lights, go check them out. Now, 2022 release. These next two are actually. This one was a blind buy recommended to me by Anthony over Metal Miners. He just basically said you'll like it. And 99.9% of the time he's dead right. You know, I know Anthony quite well now. We speak all the time. And the band he recommended to me was Cadaver Coils, with the album Offerings of Rapture and Decay. This was put out through Iron Bonehead Productions this year, and this is fan-fucking-tastic. I think this is Greek death metal. Yeah, Greek death metal, formed in 2021. Debut full length. One-man project by a chap called Neos. But he also plays in a black metal band called Archretheism, if you know that one. But he does everything on this album, literally everything: bass, vocals, drums, guitar work, the whole shebang. And you know, at the first I didn't know that, and I listened to this album and I thought, wow, they're a really good Greek death metal band, and this is spot on, absolutely well worth your time. Very, very heavy, very, very riffy. Doesn't sound like your generic death metal bands. It has that Greek vibe to it. The artwork, the way the lyrics come across, the kind of soundscapes and stuff like that. And yeah, I kind of wish I brought it on vinyl now, as well as the next one I'm going to show you. But it's got all that kind of medieval looking artwork. I love all that kind of stuff. It's kind of like a biblical vibe to it, a bit in like a satanic way. And yeah, it's just so heavy. It's got kind of like almost like a little Morbid Angel kind of vibe to it, more in like the latter albums, like the mid ones like Gateways and that kind of thing. But it's got that, also got a kind of Greek sound, and it has that rotting Christ kind of vibe to it as well a little bit. And it's just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So really, really worth checking that one out if you haven't seen that. But this one floored me, like completely floored me. Blind Buy, I saw it was Death Doom, and I never heard of it. I thought I'll just buy it because it wasn't expensive. And CDs have become king for me lately, as you probably gathered on my channel. There's not a lot of vinyl going on. There is, but not like it used to be. And CDs have become king. And I just blindly bought this album because it wasn't that much money. And that is In Grief with An Eternity of Misery. Now, this isn't even on streaming services, so I couldn't really check it out. I kind of just assumed I was going to like it. And fuck me, do I like this album. It is fantastic. This is a new band. Italian band formed in 2020. It's their debut full length. Features Christian and Mikhail from Congenital Deformity, if you know that band. No, Deformity, that's right. Congenital Deformity. I think they've got 2 demos out at the moment, and I've got both of them. And they're a fantastic band, really good lads. And they're having a dab at Doom Death. And now this is probably going to be in my top 10 at the end of the year at the moment as it stands, just because I've listened to this a ton since I've got it. And as a blind buy, you don't get much better than that. Especially if you buy an album and you have no expectations apart from you think you're going to like it because of the style, and you end up falling in love with it. It is amazing. Absolutely amazing album. It's got kind of a cross between early Catatonia with like Dance of December Souls, and it has a very kind of My Dying Bride vibe to it, like Turn Loose the Swans kind of mind. If you merge those 2 albums together, you kind of get this band. And it's so good. It's got a raw kind of sound to it. It's not polished, like overproduced, nothing like that. It's got very much a very early 90s sound, considering it's a 2022 album. 3-piece band. And I can't get enough of it, honestly. It's so good. It's so simple as well with its approach. It's got these very hooky, basic melodies in it that just work. Like, you know, when you listen to very early 90s Death Doom, they just work because they're trying to just do something slow. They're not trying to be overcomplicated. They're just slowing down a riff. And this is exactly what this album has. Just the harmonies on it are fantastic. Vocals are very much remind me of early Catatonia, and I really like that. And yeah, another Iron Bonehead album this year. I've got about 6 or 7 from this label this year alone. And it's just such a good album. So yeah, go check that one out. I'll obviously leave links below to everything I'm muttering about. But this is the pick of the bunch at the moment for me out of everything this year. Amazing album. Now, I'm a lucky boy and I got sent some gifts that are in this pile today. And one of them is from an Irish chap called Colm. He randomly messaged me to say I've got a comp of I did a few years ago with my band and a few others from like unsigned Irish bands. Would you like a copy of it? And I was like, I'll give it a listen, you know, because I do get random messages from people saying check this out, and sometimes you listen to it and go, you know, I couldn't even pretend to like it. But this I generally did like it, and I said to Colm that'd be amazing. And he sent this over, which is called Fourth to the Fight. It's like a split between 4, is it 4? Yeah, 4 Irish bands at the time that weren't signed. I think it came out in 2014. And it's a really good blend of not just one style of metal. All 4 of these bands have a slightly different take of metal. And that you've got the first one, which was called Xylem. I'll write these down at the bottom. Which was like an industrial doom band, and I really liked that. That was very different. It wasn't what I was expecting it to be, because it has got kind of a Rammstein kind of sound to it. That's my interpretation of industrial music. I know fuck all about industrial music. But then it was really doomy, very catchy. The vocals are really easy to get into, and I generally liked that a lot. I mean, there was 4 tracks from them, and they were all solid. Then they went into Mausoleum, which was more of a death thrash band. Meat and Potatoes, death thrash, you know, nothing surprised me there. It was good, but it wasn't anything amazing. And then Deus Mortis, which is the band Colm was in, and he is the vocalist. And fuck me, his vocals are so different to what I was expecting them to be. Because he's got a growl, but it isn't like your traditional death metal growl. It's got like this really over the top, super guttural, almost caveman-esque on LSD kind of vocals. It's insane, his vocal style. It's like just the bloke's going mental. And I'm not just saying that and I'm bigging him up because he sent me this. I genuinely loved his vocals. It really stood out on this split. Out of all 4 bands, his vocals were well out there, like really, really cool. And then the split finishes with a band I can't pronounce called Iwiru. Again, it'll be down below. And they just put one song on the split, which was 20 minutes long. Doomy, droney kind of stuff. That was alright, but didn't really jump out to me. The first band, Xylem and Deus Mortis, were the ones that stood out for me, which is convenient because Colm sent it to me, so it's quite nice to see that I actually liked his band that he was in. And yeah, I said to him, you got to get on board, get some more music going, because it was really, really good. And the split, take the CD out, and you've got a backstory of each band there, which is really cool. And you can buy this on Bandcamp, so I will leave a link below because it costs literally nothing. And I'm a big fan of underground music, and when you got 4 bands on one CD for less than a £5, it's worth doing, isn't it? But then he really surprised me, and he sent me a CD that an album I was after, like big time. This was on my want list since it was announced. I've been scouting a certain Dutch website to hopefully see it appear over here because it's an Australian band. It hasn't. And now I finally have it, and I haven't spent a small fortune to get it. So Colm, I really do thank you for this. But the band I'm talking about and gushing over is Malignant Aura. This is their debut full-length album called Abysmal Misfortune is Draped Upon Me. Now look at the cover. I'm going to take it out of the case. It's a Paolo Berardi cover, who's an Italian oil painter who's done Firespawn album covers. He's done Hyperdontia album covers. He's done what's one of his later ones? There's loads, absolutely loads. But look at this, look at that. Just take that in. How awesome that is. Now, as a new band, you're going to put some effort in. That is effort. When you get into one of the big boys to do you an album cover, you're putting the effort in. Because it's not going to be cheap to get these people to do that for you. It's not like a freebie. It might be, but it definitely isn't in my experience. So that already was a winner for me. But this is a Death Doom band, formed in 2018. This is their debut full length. They are from, I think, I didn't write down what part of Australia they're from. I was going to say Adelaide, but I'm fairly sure that's wrong. But this is their debut, put out through Bitter Lost Records, which is an amazing label as well, out of Australia, that I've spoken about on this channel before. And this is very, very addictive, and I already have a funny story behind this album. I was watching my son play football the other week, and my car battery is on its way out. I've had the car now, 12 years, 11 years, and it has never had a new battery. And I had this on while watching him play football in the car, not realising that obviously that's going to drain the battery. And yeah, and then I had to buy a whole new battery, and yeah, it cost me over £100 just because of listening to this album. It absolutely wiped the battery out, killed it completely. And it's my own fault because I was so into the music. It's so heavy, so melodic, catchy, memorable. I mean, the song titles are really fucking long, and some of them you forget off the top of your head. So I kind of go by track 1, track 3, that kind of thing. But this again is another one like that In Grief one. It's absolutely stunning, amazing album, and I can't recommend this enough. So again, I'll leave a link below. You can make your own minds up if you think it's shit or not. But for me, not many people are talking about this, and I think it's because of where it is in Australia. Distro is hard and expensive, so the more people check this out, the more it'll be bigger, because it is worth your time. So again, thank you, Colm, for that. I've kind of gone off on a rant about that, but that was an amazing, amazing album. Now this is another one that the band sent me. No idea who they were, completely new to me, and I've listened to this about 5 times now to get a real good grip on it. And it's a new band called Amaurot, which is I think they're split between Sweden and Germany. Debut album They are formed in 2019. This is their debut, fronted by German vocalist Lisa Reiger. So this is a female-fronted epic doom, deathy kind of band, more in a kind of gothic, epic doom vibe. I would say this band is. And it also features Peter Svensson, who's the one that sent it to me, who is a guitarist who's been in all sorts of projects. But I recognise the band Anchorite. They put out an album a couple of years ago with one of the legends of the epic doom metal scene on vocals. I forget his name, but he's from Malta, and the band was Forsaken, I think it was, that he was in. But anyway, this band Amaurot, this is slow epic doom with female vocals, very good female vocals, with a kind of death growl buried in there as well, and it's just kind of that kind of gothic-y vibe to it as well. It's got a weird, lots of effects on the female vocals. What's her name? Lost her name. What's her name? Lisa. Yeah. So her vocals, she does this kind of weird echo effect, and kind of just like chants and all that kind of stuff to kind of carry the songs and use her voice as more of like a harmony for the guitar riffs. So she's not like just shouting at people or belting out some epic lyrics. There she is there. And then yeah. At first I wasn't sure what to expect really. There's Peter there. And you've got a few other chaps in the band as well. Drummer there. And bass, everyone's favourite instrument. So yeah, this was a cool album. I must admit, it was a weird one at first because I wasn't in the mood for it. But I, carried on with it and took a break, went back to it. And I took in more on the third listen. It's got, like I say, I'm a big Candlemass fan, that kind of thing. And it has those leanings towards that stuff, but it's not as intense or as heavy as that. It's got more of a kind of subtle, kind of gothic-y, atmospheric kind of vibe with the vocals. And the riffs aren't like sledgehammer power chord, epic chanting kind of stuff. It's more mellow, doomy, very atmospheric. So give it a go and see what you think. This came out through Ballistic Polaris Productions, whatever that is. And yeah, debut album. So go check it out. Well worth your time. I wouldn't show it if it wasn't. Also features Robert Johnson, by the way, who's in a bazillion bands. So he's on there as well. Now, this one came from another Irish chap. I've been with the Irish recently. And this one came from Metal Marty Mac. I'll leave his YouTube channel above my head and down below. He was really kind enough to send me this album from his mates over in the band Eternal. I'm going to try and pronounce this. Eternal Helcaraxe. This is their 2022 release, Drown in Ash, put out through Naglfar Productions. I can never pronounce that, but it is a very good label. I know it when I see it. It does some amazing black metal, doom, that kind of thing. It's very much in the underground, hard to get into albums. I would say it's one of those kind of labels where only like diehards really get it, and I really like this album. Again, story behind this one, I got stuck in a traffic jam the other week going to work, so I had to listen to this for over an hour. I think it was over an hour, yeah, in the car, and I listened to it on the way back again, and so I really sunk in with this album. It was one of those ones I had nothing else to listen to apart from this, and it did me well. So they are a band that formed in 2003, Tolkien themed black metal, and I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan. And this is their third full length for 2022, and I'm really grateful for Marty for sending me this because never heard of them before, and I found a few of their EPs and other albums, so I need to go check them out because I genuinely really like the band. They're a 3-piece, and it's just in the vein of Emperor and that kind of epicness to it, but also the way it's written on the riffs and the production of it. It's not like a super polished, super effects. It's more of a raw, kind of nasty, gritty kind of black metal, but with a lot of atmosphere thrown in. The song, I think it's Cease, has almost like a death metal vocal style in there, and I'm not sure if it's a guest vocalist on that song, but that has a different vibe to the other ones. It starts off with what you expect, very atmospheric, drums for fucking days, the riffs kind of layered, and they build and they build and they build, and just gets to a certain speed. And then yeah, and then it slows down a bit. There's some lovely little interludes here and there, and then you got Cease, which was the one that stood out. And in Dark Woods and Dreams, I really like that song as well. The last song on the album is really, really strong. So if you haven't checked these guys out, again, I'll leave a link below. But a massive shout out to Marty for introducing me to them, because they are fantastic. I really enjoyed that one. Now, some old school Death Doom that's been reissued for last year, I think it was. Belgium Death Doom band, formed in '93. I believe they're still going after they disbanded in '96. And this is a repress from Hangguan Records in China. And the band is called The Darkening, with the album Awake. Now, old schools probably know this. I didn't know what it was. I was totally new to this. I just liked the album cover, and someone said it's a Death Doom album, so I checked it out. And I didn't really get the Death Doom tag, if I'm honest, when I listened to this. This is just a straight up Swedish, almost sounding death metal band with some doomy elements in there. But yeah, absolutely solid reissue as well. It came with the whole overstrip that you get with most overseas record labels now. This was really cool though, I really like this bit. So it comes like a little insert for the poster with some artwork, and then on the back I'm assuming they're lyrics, but they are all also in Chinese, so I have no idea what they say. But that was really nice to see that, because again, I'm not sure if that is the vocals. I'm assuming they are the lyrics to the songs, but it also comes within the book, if I can get it out without ripping it, the English translation. Opens up like that. There you go. So yeah, really nice reissue. Picture of the band in there as well, and then you got the full artwork there, which is awesome, and the main reason I bought it. So yeah, really happy with that. Didn't have a clue what again that sounded like going into it, and the reissues, I've seen a few people talk about Hangguan Records, and yeah, I need to go check out some more of their releases, because that was really, really good. Really enjoyed that. So you haven't checked that one out, obviously go and do that now. Right, nearly there. So the next two are a Swedish black metal band. Found these cheap. I can't remember why I got into these guys. I just kind of did, and I've been in a real black metal kick, so I've been kind of like a sponge in the last month or so. That's milk, not jizz, before anyone thinks. But yeah, the band is Naglfar. And this is their album Pariah. Now, this was the main reason I even checked these guys out. So they are a Swedish band that formed in 1992. And this is their 2005 album. So I think they disbanded for a little while and then came back in the mid or early noughties and started putting music out again. This is amazing. Like, genuinely amazing. And it cost them literally nothing on eBay. You can get this for like a £5. So if you've not heard these guys and you're like me, you like your kind of melodic black metal with kind of a death metal tinge to it, go give these guys a go. This came out through Century Media. I see these already jumping out of the case. But yeah, you know, amazing band. And as I've discovered, like, I think my friend Kenny was telling me, their very early stuff is like some of the best melodic kind of black metal you can get. But this has kind of got more of a, it's obviously modern, it's got a tad of a death metal kind of touch to it underneath, but I think that might be more to the production than anything else. It has a very crisp, clear production. And I also managed to grab their 2007 album Harvest, which came with a DVD, which I didn't realise. This cost me like a £5 as well. Good old Music Magpie. But again, a solid album, melodies for days. Reminds me a lot of the band, was it Necrophobic? It has a very similar vocal style. I'm not sure if it's the same vocalist, I don't think it is. I didn't check that, but it sounds similar to me. And it is in that vein, and I like both bands, so, you know, win-win for me. So I need to get more of these boys' discography, because it's not hard to find. Excuse me, but it's very, very, very good. So yeah, loving that. Bit of Naglfar. Now this one was a totally new blind buy again, recommended to me by Roger, who's another YouTuber. I will try and leave a link to everyone I mentioned. But I had heard of this band not too long afterwards when I bought this, because we were going to play a gig with them, but we couldn't do it for whatever reason. And that is the band Denali. This is a UK doom death band, new band. They formed out of Herefordshire in 2020, and this is their debut self-titled EP for this year. And to me, these guys are very much in the ballpark of December Noir and that kind of blueprint for doom death, where it's highly melodic. You've got some nice growly vocals where you can understand the words, and you have this like nice crisp production with loads of nice little pretty melodies underneath that kind of build atmosphere and kind of get an evil vibe, but then it can change into a really nice vibe, and it kind of goes between the two all the time. Now this is a band that features other members from Count the Skies, I think it was. I have heard of them. I don't think I've ever played with them though, and they've been around on the underground scene like me for years and years. And I've seen their name, I swear, a few times where I live, but I can't vouch for it. CD looks like that. I'll leave a link to the Bandcamp, but I know that recently these guys played excuse me, say recently, it's back in August, they played Bloodstock. I think they won the Metal to the Masses competition, which allows you to play that festival. So they obviously are good, and I can vouch for it. This EP is very solid, quite long on some of the songs. There's only 3 songs, I think about 9 minutes each, some of them. But I really enjoyed it. I mean, I'm a massive December Noir fan, as you might know if you've watched my channel long enough. And these guys kind of remind me of them a lot, so go give this a go. I'll leave a link below. Really, really cool EP. And to finish on some black metal. This is an album, again, blindly bought. I've seen so many people talk about it and rave about it, and I thought I will give this a go only when I get it, because I love the cover, and I thought I'm probably 99% sure I'm going to like it. And that is the only debut full length from Caladan Brood. Well, I think it is actually, I might be wrong. This is the album Echoes of Battle, which came out a number of years ago. The band formed out of Utah in the US in 2008, and is an interesting lineup because it features Jake Rogers, who's the frontman for Visigoth, if you know that band, like kind of an epic traditional metal band, love them. And he's also in Devoured, which I've yet to check out yet, but I've seen that name kicking about. And there also features a guy called Sven Smith of Winterlaw, and two of them kind of produced this insanely talented, epic, atmospheric black metal project, which is based after Stephen Erickson's novel series, The Malazan Empire. Now, I have read, I think, the first 9 of those books. I do have them somewhere. I don't know where they've gone, but I had them in my early 20s. And it's a very hard read, and it's extremely hard to get your head around the lore, because there's a lot going on, because it's all in different time periods. But this is named after, I think, one of the generals in that book series, or warlord. That's right, a warlord. So Caladan Brood is one of the warlords in the series. And yeah, it's just a very epic, atmospheric black metal. It's got these very harsh but very lovely little like black metal leads with the harsh vocals, then it goes into the kind of chanting Gregorian style, and it's just epic. And then you realise Jake Rogers is doing it, and then I'm a big Visigoth fan as well, so it kind of made sense. And this is amazing, but this is the only album they've ever done, as the two of them anyway. They've got other projects and there's loads of music from them, but this, I've seen so many people talk about this, I kind of blindly bought it knowing I was going to like it, and I love this album. I've spun this about 4 times in the last 4 weeks, so maybe once a week, yeah. And it's amazing. So go check it out. So thank you if you got to the end of this video. Please consider liking the video to let YouTube know I'm alright, and obviously go check out all the links below to everything I've spoken about. I've tried to cram it all in one video so you get as much information as you can. If you are new to the channel, please consider checking out all the other content I have around here and subscribing if you wish. In the meantime, I will speak to you in the comments section. Take care.